Let's move on to the next presentation, which is delivered by Dr. Choi Busik, Senior Economist in POSCO Research Institute. He will be giving a presentation on the POSCO's case for industrial development in ASEAN countries. Let's give him a big hand.
Good morning. It is my great honor to make a presentation here today. And I'm Busik Choi from POSCO Research Institute, and I'm currently working at POSCO Indonesia Inti, which is POSCO's representative office in Indonesia. And what I'm going to explain today is quite similar as what Dr. Shin made a presentation and then Mr. Ho made a presentation. It's quite in the same line. So I'll just skip through several slides since we are running out of time, okay? Okay, what I'm going to explain is the first, sorry, I will tilt a little bit of this podium because it's not easy to see. And first, I'll talk about the importance of the ASEAN market, and I'll talk about the importance of steel market. And again, I'll touch a little bit of the ASEAN steel market and what POSCO does in Indonesia and in ASEAN. And I'll talk about the POSCO's future plan and how it affects Indonesian economy and the ASEAN economy. Okay, this slide is exactly the same as what Dr. Shin made a presentation. And as we all know, the US trade war and the COVID-19 accelerates supply chain reshuffling. And then at the result of that, the ASEAN market and ASEAN countries are good candidates for supply chain diversification. In response to that, the neighboring countries, Korea, Japan, and China, are seeking to secure the ASEAN market also. And there are four big FDI investors into ASEAN, and the four countries are Korea, US, China, and Japan. And the big four shares of FDI to ASEAN actually take over 50% of the whole ASEAN FDI. And FDI flows to ASEAN. One interesting thing is that in 2016, the ASEAN FDI share of the world was only 5.6%, but it has been increased to 12%, which is double just within 3 years. Okay, now it's my main field, steel. Okay, steel industry is called mother of all industry. This is a little bit of a cliche, but I couldn't find any words that can describe steel industry better than this. Steel is a key material for traditional industry, such as construction and energy, and steel is a key material for even high-tech industry, such as automobile, cell phone, and space shuttle. And many people don't know that the iPhone 13 used stainless steel as a casing side. And Elon Musk's SpaceX space shuttle used stainless steel for body structure. And I'm not going to talk about the whole iron making and steel making process, but I'll mention the two different types of steel. The first, the flat products. The name comes from the shape. It looks flat. And the flat products, including plates, hot rolled coil, and cold rolled coil, made out of the slab, which is in the middle. And those flat products normally consumed in the manufacturing industry. And on the other hand, the long product including wire rod, beam section, and reinforcing bar, is normally consumed in the construction sector. Okay, historically, in the long term, a nation's economic power is based on manufacturing industry. And to achieve strong manufacturing industry, steel industry is always a basic building block. About 50 to 60 years ago, the US had a global economic superpower. I mean, US still has a global economic superpower, but back then the power was way higher, very stronger. And the economic superpower went to Japan and China recently. And when a nation has a superpower, there's always a good or developed manufacturing industry. And then again, there is always a good and strong steel industry backing up the economic development. I would like to talk about the Korean case. Steel industry contributed to Korean development a lot, and that's called Miracle on Han River. The Korean, and especially at the beginning stage. If you look at the graph in the circle, the steel industry's blue thick line, which moved faster than any other industries. And according to Ministry of Industry and Energy of Korea, and domestic steel price was 20% lower than the import. So that increased price competitiveness in automobile by 1.5% and shipbuilding by 3.5%. That's a lot, though. Okay, now I would like to talk just a little bit about the ASEAN steel market. And ASEAN steel market is important in two reasons. The one is that the ASEAN steel market's growth expectation is really high, as we can see on the graph on the right-hand side. Indonesia has Indonesia will grow by 5.7% each year up to 25, and then Philippines and Vietnam has also high growth rate. And the other reason is that the ASEAN region is the largest area for supply shortage. In 2016, the supply-demand gap was 61 million tons, and it reduced in 2019, but it's still huge. And steel industry expansion actually will lay the foundation for the growth of ASEAN manufacturing industry and ASEAN economy. Okay, I would like to talk about what POSCO does in Indonesia. And POSCO established Krakatau POSCO with Krakatau Steel, which is a state-owned steel company in Indonesia. And the capacity is 3 million tons per year. And what they produce is plates and slab. And what POSCO will do in the future, what POSCO does in ASEAN market is that POSCO serves in most of ASEAN countries and provide high quality steel. And POSCO operates steel production plants in Vietnam, Thailand, Myanmar, and Malaysia. And the main products are CR and galvanizing and stainless. And then POSCO also operates steel core center, which cuts steel in a shape that the customer wants. And currently, POSCO's ASEAN production sites imports semi-finished products from mostly Korea, process them to make final products. And what POSCO will do is this. And POSCO will establish 10 million ton steel cluster in Cilegon with Krakatau Steel. As I explained before, now capacity is only 3 million tons. And by second phase expansion, around 2017, the capacity will be 6 million tons. And that time, Krakatau POSCO will be only the integrated steel mill in Southeast Asia to produce automobile steel. In the long run, of course, we have to take care of the environment, so POSCO is thinking of putting the green steel production capacity in the future. After second phase of expansion, Krakatau POSCO will provide most of semi-finished products to POSCO's all Asian plants. And in addition to that, POSCO will build EV ecosystem in Indonesia. As we all know, Indonesian government has a vision that they want to utilize nickel resource and take off as a leading country for the future EV value chain. POSCO is ready to serve and ready to support that vision by providing key battery raw materials such as anode and cathode, and then second, by supplying high quality steel in a competitive price. Okay, it's my last slide. I would like to talk about the economic impact of the Krakatau POSCO's expansion. And the economic effect of 10 million ton silicon cluster will be this. The production inducement will be $13.6 billion US dollar, and value addition will be 3.4 billion. And by that value addition will increase GDP by around 0.4%. In terms of trade balance, the Krakatau POSCO expansion will improve the trade balance by 6.6 billion US dollar. And in the ASEAN point of view, import substitution effect will be $6.6 billion, assuming that all exports are intra-ASEAN trade and all imports are substituting the imports from outside of the ASEAN. And when a company makes the investment decision, company thinks, especially in ASEAN countries, and especially in capital-intensive industry, the company normally think the ASEAN as whole region. They're targeting the whole ASEAN region. So I would like to close my presentation with this sentence. The stronger ties with ASEAN countries and more and faster investment in ASEAN countries. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your presentation.